Yo, what's up? So, I wanted to talk about a thought I had, right? That's like every video. I wanted to talk about how experience with relationships is something that's gate kept, right? So, obviously, um, for an undesirable guy, that experience will be gate kept by women, right? So, obviously, right, if you're a straight woman, then of course it'll be gate kept by males. But the thing is, it is imbalanced, right? Because inexperience is more damning for a male, right? Like, I can talk about it from personal experience. The first uh, girlfriend, right? The losing my virginity experience, even though was it it was like she already knew, right? If she talked to me because of the first channel, so she already knew and had all that knowledge of my inexperience. Yet being inexperienced and being bad in bed is something that still probably caused a major I don't want to call it major strain, because that almost makes it sound like it was a long-term thing, more so than just a few weeks, right? And only a couple days in person, right? But it does put a negative, it has a negative effect for sure, 110%. Being inexperienced, not having any experience with anything that involves a relationship, has especially because a guy is expected to initiate and take the lead on everything, right? I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter if a woman says that it's okay that he doesn't, right? In the end, the actions of her actions will still kind of indicate that you do need to initiate and expect to lead or whatever, right? You understand what I'm saying. You fucking have to be the initiator and the leader to some extent, right? No matter what they say, the feelings will always their feelings will always dictate that, and if you don't, odds are, right, it's never 110% guaranteed, but the odds are stacked against you if you expect her to just help you out, right, basically. So that's why inexperience is so much worse for a male than it is for a female. So even though, right, you can say that inexperience or the experience is also gate kept by males if they don't want to enter a relationship with a female. So you can say, oh, women just have it just as bad too, right? They have it bad on paper, right? But in the real world, where inexperience is imbalanced, right? Where inexperience is more damning for a male than it is for a female, it's actually not fair, right? It's not a balanced thing. It's more, if anything, some guys will even fetishize inexperience in women. So it can almost be seen as a positive, right? But really, very few, if any, any women will fetishize inexperience in a male, right? Especially not in an older male. There's no 40-year-old virgin kink, right? That's just not a thing. If it is, right, it's less than 1% of the female population, right? That just doesn't happen, right? It's pretty obvious, right? Or else, or else, um, or else there would be no such thing as an undesirable male, right? There wouldn't be any undesirable males if male inexperience was something that was seen as a positive or fetishized, right? You wouldn't have. I wouldn't be making these videos if that was the case. But yeah, so I guess back to the main point, right? It's gate kept. So, because people say, "Oh, bro, just be confident," right? But how do you gain confidence, right? You gain confidence in something by becoming proficient at it, right? When you have done something many times successfully, many times, you become confident in your ability to do it, right? You're gonna think about it. Think about something like driving, right? Even though that's a terrible example, to be honest, right? Because there's tons of bad drivers, right? I see them every day. But you can become, if you drive successfully for years upon years, or not even years, let's say miles, right? If you have a long track record of driving many miles, right? Because who cares if you've been driving for 10 years, but you only drive like maybe 1,000 miles in a year, then it's like that's really nothing, right? I have driven since since I think I got a car around 24, I think. So I've been driving for 6 years, and in that time, I've driven around 240,000 miles. So it's like a decent amount. I have a decent amount of experience, right? It isn't like some grand crazy amount of I guess miles, but it's a decent amount, right? So it's like at that point I can become pretty confident. Like, hey, I can, manage manage and deal with a decent amount of traffic situations. Maybe not so much in snow because I don't really drive. I for sure probably have less than 300 miles of driving in snow experience. So obviously that's not really gonna I don't qualify for a confident, competent, icy, snowy weather condition driver, but I think for most normal conditions, right? Even like normal heavy traffic and whatever, you get the point. I think I am decently confident at being a somewhat competent driver, but the only way I got to that point was by being able to have a lot of experience. But you cannot gain relationship experience, or even of really any kind, right? You can't gain experience being a good kisser, a good hugger, a good sleeper. Like if sleeping with a woman, right? You can't get good in bed, is what I'm trying to say, right? You can't get good at any of this stuff. You can't get good at dates. Can't get good at talking to women. You can't get good at any of this stuff because women don't want to talk to you and initiate or have interactions with you in the first place, right? How can you get good at something when you're not even allowed to engage in that activity, right? It just doesn't make sense. So how are you supposed to ever be confident, right? Just be confident, bro. Well, how? It's like you can't just read books, right? You can't just read books and read articles on pickup and the red pill and all this stuff and somehow become good with women, right? That's what I thought. Oh yeah, bro, if I just read up on how to have how to have sex, right? How to be good and decent in bed on your first time, then it'll be okay. But obviously it wasn't, right? Because when push comes to shove, you may not be prepared, right? Especially if you are super neurotic, right? If you're just not the type of guy to get women, right, have women attracted to you, then odds are you're just gonna fail at this stuff, right? You're just not going to be good. You're gonna have problems, and that's what happened to me, and that resulted in a bad failed relationship. So as you can see. So it's gatekept basically, right? So how can I ever get good at any of that stuff, right? It doesn't make sense. But people will somehow say, oh bro, you can just be confident, right? As if you can manifest it out of nowhere. How does that even happen? If you've never, let's say if you've legitimately never driven in the snow before, how are you suddenly going to be drive so confidently and competently for your first time in the like heavy actual snow? How are you gonna drive like that? No, you're probably not. You're gonna be like super cautious and scared, and you're gonna be like those people who drive in the left lane going on the interstate going like 15 below the speed limit, right, in the passing lane, and then having everyone merge like into the other lanes to like pass them. It just doesn't make sense.
Use the right 2 lanes to exit right.
But, you know, people still, oh, just fake it, bro. But that's the thing. Like, it's just like with driving. You can't fake that. You can't just fake, oh, yeah, I'm a good driver. And just, you know, then you lose traction once and you slide and then you I don't know, crash into the shoulder or the divider or something. And then you got to have some, like, tow truck pull you out, dude. That's the same thing. Because you faked confidence. You failed because you're not actually competent. So you can't be confident, right? It's the same thing with, you know, women and dating and all this stuff. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. And it won't happen because it's gate kept and you can't get that experience. There just doesn't make sense, right? How, like, can someone please explain it? The only way I can think of someone gaining experience and all that stuff is through like prostitution, which you can't really do, which is illegal. And you know, is it even, let's have a thought experiment, say it's legal where you are. Do you really expect undesirable guys to like, oh yeah, bro, just spend your life savings every single week to try to gain experience with women, right? It's like, oh, you don't know how to sleep with a woman, you don't know how to kiss her or talk to her, just buy prostitutes and practice on them, bro. Just go to Japan and get those rent-a-girlfriends, right? It's like, just spend all this money, right? It's like, it just doesn't make sense, bro. It's like, it's just like with the guys who tell you, oh, bro, just get surgery. You know, it's always, oh, just spend all your money, bro. Spend all your money. As if most incels are gonna be some like a rich guy. Well, you know, odds are, you know, he probably wouldn't be complaining then because he'd you know, use that money to leverage and, you know, basically just sleep with women, right? Use the money to sleep with women because, you know, oh, they're not going to desire me, so I may as well just leverage the money, right? And he'd already be basically doing prostitution or whatever, right? Whether I'm legally or not, right? Whether it's just like, oh, you pay for it no matter what, bro. You know, by basically like being a sugar daddy or whatever, right? So it just doesn't make sense, right? So you're telling guys who can't even afford to do it, oh, just spend what little money you have, bro, on paying for women to sleep with. It is pretty delusional. It's like those. It's a fake solution, right? It's one of those solutions that people give basically to make themselves feel better or smarter, right? It's like, oh, I'm so smart, I'm such a good person. I told, this incel what to do, how to stop being an incel. It's like when ChatGPT said, want to know how to stop being an incel? Just get a girlfriend. It's like, how does that, like no shit, Sherlock, that's obvious. But the problem is, how do you even go about that? It's like, oh, wanna know how to get taller? Fucking just grow to 6 foot or 6'6", bro. Right? It's like, but you're telling that to like someone who's like 5'5". It's like, okay, well, I know I'm supposed to get tall. I just have to grow to be like 6'2" at the minimum, right? But it's like, how can you do that, right? You can't. It's like you don't talk about the steps in between, the complexity of it all, right? If it was really so simple, there wouldn't be a problem, right? But, you know, there's always going to be some, like, rate-limiting step in between, you know, the A and B. There's, like, or I guess A and B is a bad example. Between A and Z or whatever the final destination is, right? There's always going to be that rate-limiting step. And for gaining experience with women, the rate-limiting step is being attractive enough, right? I'm not going to cope and say you need to be a Chad. And, you know, if you're not a Chad, you'll never get a girlfriend. But you do need to be attractive enough, right? Because if you don't, then how are you? Then you just won't be seen as acceptable by women, right? Because like you need to pass the minimum looks threshold, right? But that's the hardest part. That's what a lot of guys can't do. And a lot of average guys can't do that now because of looks inflation, right? Because of social media and the internet, right? Because by default, women are inundated because they'll see hot guys on social media, the internet, whatever, and it's just like every social media algorithm, right? It'll feed you more of what you look at, so they'll see the hot guys, and it'll keep on feeding them hot guys. And what do they get used to seeing? Hot guys. So eventually, that hot guy who's a legit 7 out of 10, right? Now he's gonna look average, right? He'll be like whatever. Now he's like in their minds, he'll be like a 5 out of 10. He'll be a 5 out of 10, nothing special, because they're so used to seeing them. Nothing special, right? And then that guy, then they go out to the real world, and they won't see guys like that. They'll see like actual, sub 5 guys, or like a 6 out of 10 guy, or a 5 out of 10 guy, right? Then those guys will register as below average, right? Because they're so accustomed to seeing the 7 out of 10 plus guys, right? And so those guys won't meet the minimum looks threshold, because now like an objective 7 out of 10 is the bare minimum. But that's actually going to be a lot. That's going to be rare, right? That's not going to be as, maybe not crazy stupid rare, but it'll be rare enough where it won't be every guy in the room, right? It won't be like as common as a 5 out of 10 guy. So yeah, looks inflation. That's a problem. And it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse, right? And then that you add social media filters, and then maybe Photoshop, or you can use AI eventually. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. How some guys make fake AI Instagram model accounts, right? So it's not even a real woman, right? They just make a fake. They ask AI make a hot girl, right? And then just post pictures of her, and then guys will simp over, and probably they can monetize that, and make a soft core OnlyFans with pictures made by AI, and some guys will probably pay for that, right? Eventually maybe they'll make Instagram or accounts of hot guys that aren't even real. They're just AI, and the norm will be like a legit 8+ out of 10. Then it's like the guys will just keep on getting hotter and hotter and more perfect and perfect. And then the girls will go outside and you see real life, and then they'll see like a 5 out of 10, and he won't even be a 5 out of 10 to them at that point, right? At that point, looks inflation will have rotted the brains out, and they'll just interpret him as like a legit disfigured human being. Like he's like barely a 2 out of 10, maybe not a 1 out of 10, because they don't have legit disabilities or disfigurement, but he'll be like a 2 out of 10. I do think it could potentially get that bad. And then you get like that, and like AI boyfriend girlfriends, right? So it's like you will like actual robots or humans or whatever, or like humanoid robots. Then it's like it's over, bro. Right? Then where they can design and have their own, was it like 10 out of 10 boyfriend, right? And then then it's truly over then, right? Not only will you get mogged by a legit 10 out of 10 guy, you'll get mogged by like an AI humanoid robot, right? Where it's like they can legit design a guy at any time, right? Who's taller than you. He's going to have better facial structure than you. Probably better better frame than you. He'll do whatever, right? he can have a bigger D. It's like he can have an inhuman sized D, right? Think about it, right? It's like you think, oh, bro, when people say, oh, like, oh, bro, like a 12-incher. Well, these guys can legit have like a 12-incher, right? And he'll last forever, right? And he'll always be able to do whatever, right? And they can program him, to the AI will learn and say whatever she wants to hear, right? So he'll always say the right thing. And I think there will be some kind of like, what is that? What is that like fallacy, right? Where you buy into something, right? Like there's something about gambling, right? Where you already spent so much money you're so invested into this that you keep on spending more and investing in it, right? I don't remember what it's called, but since the woman already spent so much and invested so much into this AI boyfriend, right? This AI perfect boyfriend, that she'll just keep on. She's so invested into it that he can't have any flaws, right? She'll overlook his flaws, compared to a normal guy, which will obviously have flaws. But there's no buy-in for that guy, right? Because she didn't have to spend money and her own resources to purchase this guy, right? He's just a whatever. He's just an imperfect guy, right? So he's just more disposable. In a way, it's weird, right? Because the guy who's actually a human being would be seen as more disposable than a humanoid robot AI thing, right? Which in theory you would think is actually more disposable because it's not a real human, right? But it's kind of crazy, right? I don't even know how I went on a side tangent, right? But I guess TLDR, experience is gatekept, and inexperience is seen as a worse thing for males than it is for females. So it's an unequal, it's unequal, right? So you can't even cope with guys also gatekeep experience, right? They don't let a woman gain experience in relationships. But the thing is, inexperience isn't seen as negatively in women as it is seen in men. And so yeah, that's kind of it. So later.